Esteemed guests, students, and parents, a very warm welcome to yet another captivating episode of HT Talks, where we discuss pertinent issues related to education, which interest schools, students, parents, and educators alike. In today's discussion on Generation Green, turning e waste awareness into action, we discover how we can drive a greener generation and build more opportunities for a sustainable environment. Featuring insights from leading experts and educational leaders, our session today will explore innovative solutions for a greener future. Hi, my name is Pritika Khanpur and I will be hosting today's session. I have more than 23 years of experience with top media companies, including HT Media Limited. I also have a keen interest in environmental and sustainability issues. So today we have on board Mr. Manav Sabodh. He is the founder of UN accredited 1M 1B 1 million for 1 billion. Manav is a leading voice in AI and green skills. Recently, Manav established the 1M 1B Green Skills Academy, leveraging AI, announced at the UN headquarters in New York. Our second panelist for today is Mr. Rakesh Bhardwaj. He is the head of public affairs and policy leads Oppo India. Mr. Rakesh Bhardwaj leads Oppo India's strategic engagements with national and state governments of India on a wide range of policy issues that concern Oppo as an investor, as a manufacturing unit, and as a reputable corporation. Currently, as the head of public affairs and policy, acting as a key advisor to senior leadership in exploring new opportunities, focusing particularly on growth and transformation. I now have Mr. Vivid Gupta, who's the principal of Bal Bhavan Public School, Mayur Vihar. Mr. Gupta is a visionary and a dynamic leader known for his trailblazing approach to education. Honored with the prestigious Delhi State Teacher Recognition Award 2022 by the Directorate of Education and Delhi government, he has consistently inspired his community to pursue their goals with unwavering dedication. I warmly welcome all of you to this discussion today. So, now my first question is for Mana. Mana 1M 1B focuses largely on innovation and sustainability. What role do you think entrepreneurship and innovation play in creating scalable solutions for e-waste management? Yes, Mana.
So, yeah, thank you, Pritika, and a big hello to everyone watching this live stream. And a big regards to my fellow panelists, Mr. Rakesh Bhardwaj and Mr. Vivek Gupta. So, a pleasure to be here at the HT Talks and talk about a big important topic. So, my organization, 1M1B, 1 million for 1 billion, has been working for the past 10 years on innovation, entrepreneurship, digital skilling, and creating a future ready workforce amongst young people. So we work a lot amongst young people, mainly with colleges, schools, and the regulators, CBSE, AICT, and big partners like Oppo, IBM, and others. So I think what we from a sustainability e-waste perspective, something that is very important is an entrepreneurial thinking first. I think we need to first look at how do we create an entrepreneurial thinking and a sustainability mindset. I would prioritize that over anything first because we need to create impact at a mass level. And the sustainability mindset, I would really prioritize before anything, even before jobs, because right now what we are dealing with in an issue where people are not sensitive enough or not aware enough on what's really going on. And we are talking about the net zero acceleration, net zero agenda, India's 2070 net zero agenda. But what I see lacking is awareness and sensitization on why this is important. And Pritika, most of the time people think about environmental stewardship as different from economic development. And I want to make sure that I can demystify that economic development and entrepreneurship, environmental stewardship can go hand in hand. And in fact, one of the big examples is the Generation Green program that the government has launched in partnership with Oppo. And this is one of the massive programs that got launched a few months back. It's in a 100-day campaign mode. It is growing very fast, and it is engaging about 10 lakh young people on why sustainability is important, and more than that, raising awareness on e-waste. So India is the third highest e-waste generator.
Yeah.
3.1 million tons of e-waste annually gets generated in India, and that's going to only skyrocket. But besides
Sure.
the environmental role, I think there's a big role on from an urban mining perspective, economic development perspective, and e-waste is a big entrepreneurial opportunity as well, because you can mine so much from it. Right,
Yeah.
there's gold that can be mined, there's silver that can be mined, there is copper that can be mined, and there are various data that is floating around. But it's a big opportunity. So I think that's how we need to look at it. Again, Generation Green, Gen G, as the campaign is called, is one of the leading campaigns. I've not heard about anything like that in the world, but in India, it's definitely the first where something like this is happening, and it is turning into internships. So there are 5,000 students who are getting internships, and there are schools that are getting engaged. There are campuses. There are 70 colleges that are already engaged on converting their campus into green campus. There are
Yeah.
470 Atal Tinkering Labs, or the ATL schools under the Atal Innovation Mission. They are talking about how can we do that, and there's already over a million or 1.5 million tons of e-waste that has been collected in this whole process. So I don't know if I've answered your question, but I think the answer is in entrepreneurial thinking, sustainability mindset, and then looking at e-waste as an entrepreneurship opportunity, really
Yeah.
involving the schools and the younger generation of India. India is 66% of India is under the age group of 35. We
Yeah.
have young people, and I think they need to mobilize for tapping into this opportunity.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Manav. In fact, this newer dimension we've come to know, because yes, the environment, as you said, is important, but at the same time, this huge opportunity which lies ahead, which you have talked about, this entrepreneurial mindset, and the fact that there are students who are now interning, and the very fact that we can utilize e-waste in a manner that gold, silver, copper, so many resources can also be generated. That's a different mindset which needs to be inculcated. Keeping in mind environmental sustainability, we have to look at other things. And as you said, we have a major portion of our population, which is the young generation, which is 35 and below. So I think that's the potential that we have, and we can obviously tap with the measures that you outlined. Thank you. Now, my next question is for Mr. Rakesh Bhardwaj. Mr. Bhardwaj, as the head of public affairs and policy leads Oppo India, how do you ensure that your organization, आपके organization का जो sustainability goal है, how does it move beyond awareness के beyond जो actual practices आप करते हो, जैसे recycling करना बहुत जिम्मेदारी से, और product life cycle को कैसे manage करते हैं, उसके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे, Mr. Bhardwaj? If you can throw some light, sir. हाँ जी.
Hello, Pratika, and a
Hi.
very
Thank
warm good evening to my fellow panelists, Manav
you. Good
Subodh and
evening.
Vivek Gupta, and all your HT Lives viewer. And thanks for giving me this opportunity to share my view on HT Live today. At
Yes.
Oppo India, actually, we
हाँ जी.
ensure
हाँ
that
जी.
our sustainability goal move beyond awareness to actual practices through several key initiatives. We
हाँ
are
जी. हाँ
guided
जी.
by our mission, that is technology for mankind and kindness for the world. And we focus on building a green and low carbon business model that integrates sustainability into every aspect of our business operation. Our
Right.
product design and manufacturing operations are guided by the principle of reduce, reuse, and recycle plus degradable. That is 3R plus 1D. Let me share a few example with you, Kritika,
हाँ जी.
that how we are, doing at Oppo. First, we are using soy ink instead of petroleum-based ink, which make packing
Okay.
material easy to recycle. Number
Okay.
two, we are using innovative solution such as the battery health engine optimization, which maintain a battery health at 80% capacity even after extensive use of 1800 cycle charge. Our
Okay.
self-developed patented SuperVOOC charging technology promote energy conservation. It charges your device fully within 30 minutes and reduce the frequency of charging. We have also implemented uniform Type-C charging port across our products line, which contribute sustainability in reducing e-waste, and our rigorous product testing in QE reliability lab ensure durability beyond industry standards, which contributes to longer product lifespan and reduce e-waste. Also, we have expanded our repair service nationwide. I'm really happy to share with you that currently हम approximate 25,000 पिन कोड तक अपनी सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, जहाँ पे
हाँ
अगर
जी।
आपका रिपेयर खराब हो जाता है या आप यूज नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, तो आवर
हाँ जी।
सर्विस टीम comes to your doorstep and they collect your device. So
ओके।
that help you to increase your product's life.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
Also, our long-term goal of achieving carbon neutrality by 2050 reflect our dedication to integrate sustainable practice throughout the product life cycle, from design to production to disposal to recycling, ensuring that we not only meet but exceed environmental expectation as a responsible company. And we are continuously innovating how we can implement new technology, not in our product manufacturing, but also into the entire supply chains. We have regular meetings on sustainability, and we are really hopeful of achieving our carbon neutrality goal by 2050.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Bhardwaj. बहुत interesting था. You have talked about the carbon neutrality goal by 2050 and the measures that you are taking, like the battery, 80% battery can be there. And then you have repair centers in 25,000 pin codes where, you have this outreach program so that there are people who are there to repair, the products so that, the product life cycle can increase, and the other measures that you're taking not only with respect to the product, the entire supply chain is being taken care of. So I think that these are responsible initiatives which Oppo is taking, and that is what is required, with regard to e-waste management and going towards zero waste in the long run. Thank you so much, Mr. Bhardwaj. Now my question is for Mr. Vivid Gupta. Mr. Gupta, as an educationist, you are shaping the minds of future generations. And how can schools integrate action based learning programs which are focused on e waste and encourage students to not just learn about the problem, but to actively participate in solutions? Yes, Mr. Gupta.
Thank you, Pratika ji, for the wonderful question that you have given me. First
Yeah.
of all, I would like to extend heartfelt thanks to HT for inviting me to this HT Talks, and thanks to Manav ji and Rakesh ji for sharing their valuable insights on the topic. I personally feel that when we are talking about action-based learning programs with the students at the school, especially with connect to the e-learning, the first and foremost thing is we need to understand what is the need, what is the objective that we want to keep in our mind, why is it important to talk to the children about it at school level. So as you know, Manav ji and Rakesh ji have already shared with us that carbon neutrality is something which is very critical today, and to ensure that we are not facing crisis in times to come in the future, it is very important that we prepare the future generation, and that role the schools are already dealing with. And what we are doing at school is more, it's about the climate action projects. So when we talk about climate action projects, it automatically covers the e-waste part of it. So at school, we are teaching the children about 5 R's. What are these 5 R's that we are talking about? First is refuse. So we need to teach to the children that, if we are not in need of something, today, what gadgets have done is every second month, there is something new coming up, and the audience is getting attracted to it. And we would want to change that mobile set, the handset, or the laptop, or the iPads. So we need to tell the children why we need to change it. We need to find a reason for that. Just because it is lucrative, it is something new that has come in the market, or can we upgrade that? So first thing is that we have to teach the children refuse, that if I do not need it, we need to refuse to that particular thing. Second is reduce. How much can I reduce the use of exploitation of something? So when we talk about e-waste management, it is something which, again, which is very important. The third is reuse. Can I reuse something which is there with me? And if something is not is not in a working condition, can I repurpose it? So repurposing is something which is very important, and I would want to focus on this particular aspect. And the fifth R that I would want to share is the recycling that sir has also mentioned here. So repurposing is something that we are teaching to our children at school also. So with National Education Policy 2020, there has been a greater emphasis on saving the environment, working in tandem with the energy conservation, with the environmental conservation things. And in that regard itself, we have initiated, we observed during the COVID that the number of devices being purchased in the market and then discarding and generating the e-waste, like Manavji mentioned, that now India is the third largest generator of e-waste. So we need to teach the children how we can combat that particular thing. Something, when we were at school, we were told that crackers should not be burned. We need to use the vehicles which are, CNG was introduced way back in early 2000s. Why these initiations? These initiations came a little later. But today we start working. I'm sure that 30 years, 20 years down the line, these problems will not be that grave. And that is why webinars are very important. Today we are in one such webinar. So we keep organizing such webinars for our children. We are a collection center for the e-waste that the children are generating at their places. So the first thing that the children need to do is that if they see that they are discarding something which cannot be repurposed, and we need to recycle it, we need to collect them back. So we are in coordination with one of the organization, which is a Mumbai-based organization, and then we collect the e-waste at our school, and then it is given to them. In turn, they give us a certification that we are contributing in environmental conservation. But more than that, what is required is recently we give 170 kgs of e-waste. So children now know that, I am not supposed to throw the batteries that I'm using in my toys. Those batteries can go and can be recycled, and I'm not going to create that e-waste that could be hazardous to my health at later stages. Then apart from that, we are also teaching the children, like sir has also mentioned, about mining. So what is happening is we are reducing the mining in our country if we are going to have e-waste. How? Because most of these e-waste that is being collected, some of the metal is very precious in that. So copper, gold or platinum or whatever sir has mentioned, all these things can be sorted from there, and then it can be reutilized. So it will in turn curtail the mining, which will have an impact on the environment again. So we need to talk to the children about it. We are talking about the climate action, SDG 13. Recently, one of our, 2 years back, one of my school group students, they created a robot which was functional, which was talking. It had all the elements of a robot, but it was created with the e-waste. So they repurposed it, and we presented in the school's annual exhibition and the annual sports day. That gave the confidence to the children and the parents that, we can, it's very important. So not only creating something, but it was also there to sensitize and create the awareness amongst the people, which is again important. Another repurposing was done, the keyboard keys that we use. So our school students, they collected the waste keyboard keys which came out of the board and were not usable. So they prepared a portrait out of it. A portrait was prepared out of it, which is placed in my office, and that is very beautiful piece. I mean, whenever we see such work coming from the children, it is not only an artwork that needs appreciation, but of course it gives the motivation to the people that, okay, what are we creating? Why are we, not ensuring that we are going to save the environment? So that consciousness is something which is very important. These small actions at school level, I think they're helping us to create that kind of sensitivity amongst our students.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Gupta. In fact, it was really interesting to hear about the robo that you've mentioned. And it was not just the artwork, but the very fact that the robo was created from e-waste, it sensitized the children and using the keyboard. And I also love the fact that you mentioned that your school is one of the centers for recycling. So they know where they have to get their old batteries. And then when they're aware about this, they tell their families, their friends and siblings. That awareness and the very fact that they know how important it is to utilize e-waste in this manner, And also, you said the webinars that you do, like the webinar that we are here today, you also have so many for your children. So I think I see a lot of practical steps that have been taken up at the school level, and you are promoting this in a big way. And I'm sure whenever you have these inter-school competitions and all, your robo and other things can be displayed. As you said, it's in the
Yes.
annual sports meet that it was displayed. So I think the more people know about these and things like utilizing the old keys of the keyboard, that is how slowly at this younger age, the school children itself, this starts getting inculcated when they're in primary and middle school, and of course the internships are there when they go on. So that is really nice. I think this is one of the a very good initiative, and then the repurposing that you talked about is also very meaningful in this regard. Thank you so much, Mr. Gupta. And now my question is for you, Manav. Could you share some examples of successful projects or campaigns that have been effectively turning e-waste awareness into action, especially among the young change makers, so to speak? Yes, Manav. Yeah.
So Pritika, I mentioned the Gen
Yeah.
G campaign, but
Yes.
and there is a lot happening now in the country.
Yes.
There is a sustainability accelerator program that CBSE implemented. In fact, my organization 1M1B was leading that. And
Okay.
in fact, there are studies that global studies that shows
Yeah.
that says that if 16% of high schoolers
Yes.
are involved in climate education, we could reduce 19 gigatons of carbon dioxide by
Yeah.
2050. So there are studies which clearly shows that we need to do something at the school and the college level. And India, as I was saying, is mostly young people. Involving them is important. So I can, if you want, I can share a few stories
Yes.
of successful implementation, like Mr. Vivid Gupta has shared of
Yes.
his
Yes.
school. In fact, one school, Mayura School in Noida, in
Yes.
fact, all the 2,500 students of that school have taken an e-waste pledge.
Wow. Yes.
Imagine all it is from grade 1 to 12, and
Okay.
that's
Okay.
massive because you're talking about e-waste management at a school assembly level. You're talking
Yes.
about taking a pledge to reduce, repurpose. That's huge. There's a
Yes.
student. I'm forgetting her name in Hyderabad.
Okay.
Um, Moksha Shri. Yeah, Moksha Shri.
Yeah.
She is a high schooler, 15 years of age. She's also a 1M1B youth advisor. We groom a lot of change makers. And she herself, just alone, has collected about 25 kgs of e-waste, a 15-year-old. So she
Commendable.
doesn't need a school, like she's doing it herself. She's not
Yeah.
waiting, right?
Yes.
Similarly, there is another team of college students. I know Sampurna and her team that
Okay.
it's in Odisha, in fact,
Okay.
in IIT Madras. So it's a very diverse team, and
Okay.
in the last 1 month or a little over, they have collected about 80 kgs of e-waste. So,
Oh,
so there is, we can share these stories, and these stories are now coming in, and people need to know that. And I
yes.
think that's the movement that we need to spark, which is a grassroots movement. In fact, I would
Right.
like to talk about some of the policy initiatives that can be taken. But I
Right.
think what we first need to do is, like my organization, 1 million for 1 billion. The whole idea of a million for billion is let's create change ourselves and not wait for anybody. Right? Let's support
Right.
the government. Let's support the large organizations, but we need to be accountable because we are going to inherit this world, and if we want to do that, let's be problem solvers. So I think
Right.
what we need to do is create a movement of creating problem solvers. A million for a billion stands for creating a million problem solvers who will impact a billion people. I think that's what we need to do. 3.3 billion population of the world is at risk of climate already, and they are in vulnerable communities. So I think we need to do much more than the government just making policies and the large
Right.
corporations their CSR funding. Of course, that is hugely important because you need
Mhm.
funding. You need an organization like Oppo, you need AICT, you need CPSC, you need the
Correct.
school, colleges to come together. But
Yeah.
we need to really make sure that we're sparking on ground movement. And from a policy perspective, and I think change makers can only go far if the policy is supported. And I think
Right.
I'm pretty impressed with the NIRF ranking that has, so sustainability has been introduced as a key aspect of ranking in colleges.
Yeah, that's
And
commendable.
that makes it huge. Like you need to do that. Like, like
Yeah.
the Dow Jones Sustainability Index is now making a lot of companies which are listed at NASDAQ to take action on sustainability, because suddenly your
Yes.
stock prices are linked to it. And now
Yes.
the college rating and ranking are linked to it. So I think
Yeah.
that's the right way to go. We need to to have these incentives. We need to create these frameworks, and we need to even create credit systems. In fact, the Generation Green campaign that I was talking about by Oppo and AICT, and I have my organization has the privilege to implement it and be the on-ground partner for it.
Yeah.
The program gives two credit to students who are doing this internship on e-waste. Now,
Yeah.
imagine close to 60 hours of work, and that 60 hours gets converted into 2 to 3 credits. And they can
Yeah.
take those credits in their coursework. Now, I think that's what we need to do. So there's a lot of change makers talent in India. It's a matter of time that we unleash it. But I
Yeah.
think the government coming together, the policymakers coming together, the teachers coming together, I think that will really unleash the entrepreneurial spirit and the change maker spirit in India.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Manav. You talked about several things. And I think the initiatives at the school level, starting with the pledge that was taken by so many children in Mayur's school, and their other children, and one of this 15-year-old girl who herself has collected so much of e-waste, and the college students team, they are getting together. Along with that, you talked about children when they work for such projects, giving them incentive points, that's further encouraging them. So as you said, we need everybody to come together, whether they are private corporations, they are tech companies, teachers. We need support, and at the same time, we need policies also. And to a certain extent, you also said yes, without funding, without the CSR initiatives, this can't be done. So I think on every level, we need to spark the change, and because it's one of the major challenges which confronts us today, so different ways of generating awareness and trying as many people as possible to be role models and to work on this is what we should look at. So with this, I come to the next question. This is for Mr. Bhardwaj. So I wanted to know from you, Mr. Bhardwaj, that what concrete steps have been taken in Oppo जिससे कि आप लोगों को एजुकेट कर सकते हैं, अपने कस्टमर्स को इंसेंटिवाइज कर सकते हैं, ताकि वो रिस्पॉन्सिबली अपने इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डिवाइसेस को रिसाइकल कर सके. इंसेंटिव्स भी कुछ होंगे जो आप देते होंगे. तो ये सब मैं आपसे जानना चाहती थी, मिस्टर भारद्वाज. हाँ जी,
Thank you
थोड़ा
for
सा.
asking this question, Pratika.
यस. हाँ जी.
First of all, I really support what Manav said.
हाँ जी. हाँ
It's
जी.
collective responsibility
हाँ जी.
to come forward and join hand together. Because अगर हम
श्योर.
e-waste का कुछ डेटा देखें पिछले कुछ
हाँ
सालों
जी.
में,
हाँ जी.
2014 इंडिया का जो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंडस्ट्री the total worth was slightly below than 10 billion US dollar, and
Yeah.
today it stand at 120 billion US dollar.
Huge. Yeah.
And if we see only mobile phone,
हाँ
so
जी.
it was we were producing around very less number. We were importing all the mobile phone, and it was hardly 60 million mobile phone we were producing totally,
हाँ
and
जी.
that number has crossed 330 million currently, and we have become the second largest manufacturer of mobile phone in the world. एंड जो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंडस्ट्री के लिए जो
हाँ
हमारा
जी.
रिपोर्ट्स के अकॉर्डिंगली जो हम टारगेट कर रहे हैं, वी आर टारगेटिंग टू रीच 300 बिलियन यूएस डॉलर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंडस्ट्री बाय एंड ऑफ दिस डिकेड. अगर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंडस्ट्री की जो ग्रोथ है, क्योंकि
हाँ
इनोवेशन
जी.
और ईज ऑफ लाइफ के लिए वी कैन नॉट स्टॉप इनोवेशन, वी कैन नॉट स्टॉप ग्रोथ फॉर दैट इज
Yes.
आल्सो वेरी नेसेसरी. लेकिन उससे जो साइड इफेक्ट हैं, जो ई वेस्ट
हाँ जी,
जनरेट होगा, उसके लिए हमें ग्राउंड लेवल पे कॉन्क्रीट स्टेप लेने की जरूरत है। जैसे मैंने आपसे शेयर किया, एट ओप्पो वी आर ड्राइव बाई 3R+1D प्रिंसिपल, दैट इज रिड्यूस, रीयूज, रिसाइकल एंड डिग्रेडेबल। तो सबसे पहले तो हम हमारा जो फोकस है ओप्पो इंडिया में, दैट वी हैव इम्प्लीमेंटेड ए कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव ई वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट पॉलिसी एज पर द ई वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट रूल नोटिफाइड बाय द गवर्नमेंट। एंड
राइट,
इसके अंतर्गत हमने पैन इंडिया नेटवर्क, अपना जो कलेक्शन सेंटर सेटअप करे हुए हैं अक्रॉस इंडिया, जो गवर्नमेंट ऑथराइज्ड पीआरओज हैं, वी
हाँ जी,
वर्क विद we work with them, and they collect this e-waste from our service center and our collection center. सेकेंडली, जो एक अवेयरनेस और ग्राउंड लेवल पे कंक्रीट स्टेप लेने की बात है, उसके लिए हमने जैसे एक जनरेशन ग्रीन कैंपेन लॉन्च किया। वी आर एंगेजिंग विद यूथ ऑन सस्टेनेबिलिटी एफर्ट्स and focusing on the principle of repair, reuse and recycle again, because and विविध जी ने उसमें 2R और ऐड करके 5R का
हाँ जी,
प्रिंसिपल किया। सो
हाँ
दैट
जी।
वाज वेरी नाइस टू हियर।
रीपर्पस भी ऐड किया था सर ने,
जी।
रीपर्पस। हाँ
सो
जी,
थ्रू जनरेशन ग्रीन हमारा जो इनिशिएटिव है टू एम्पावर स्टूडेंट्स एंड give them environment skill, green skill we are calling it, so that they can learn, they can get credits, and further they can pass this knowledge in their communities to nearby school. And we are targeting to impact 1 million youth under this campaign. Apart from this, we are providing information to our customer that they can call our toll free number, helpline number, and they can reach us through emails and to designated PRO, and they can know which is the nearby collection center, how to recycle their e-waste correctly, and to whom they need to approach. Further, like we discuss about जनरेशन ग्रीन कैंपेन, सो जो जनरेशन ग्रीन कैंपेन में जो एक इंसेंटिव है सबसे बड़ा,
हाँ
एकेडमिक
जी,
क्रेडिट, दैट
राइट,
मोटिवेट यूथ। Like I would like to share that initially we target 5,000 students, but
हाँ
we
जी,
receive application from approximately 10,000 students from across 1,400 institutions. So that
ओके,
shows a shift in the mindset of youth generation. They want to participate more and more into this kind of activity where they can learn new skills, and because they are the change maker and innovator of tomorrow, so it's really heartening to see their participation in generation green campaign at this in increasing number. So apart from this, we also launch replacement offers and scheme for our products from time to time. So whenever we launch new products, we also give options that customer can replace, and we give some exchange offer so that they can exchange their old device, and that old device is recycled properly through CPCB authorized recycler. So this is
राइट,
how at Oppo India we are making sure that we make public at large and youth aware about the risk of e-waste, the benefit of proper recycling, like we discussed that e-waste have this rare earth mineral,
या,
which if we can extract properly, it's create employment opportunity also, employment entrepreneurship opportunity also, and reduce burden on our natural resources, and
या,
the product are also recycled properly. So this is how Oppo India is doing a bit, and we encourage other company also to run this kind of drive.
okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Bhardwaj. I think the initiative that Oppo India is taking will obviously inspire the other companies also. So you talked about 3R and 1D. That was very nice. And this Generation Green campaign that you have launched, and it is so heartening to hear that there are 5,000, I think you had 5,000 positions for this, and double the children had applied. And I'm sure over a period you will be able to accommodate more and more children in this regard. And the very fact that you have authorized government PROs who are there to collect these wastes and so that this is a very good initiative, so that it's properly recycled and it is reused, as you said, as per your model. Also, one very good fact that you pointed out was that these schemes are very important, whereby you can exchange your gadgets, because when they exchange it and they get it replaced, at least you put them to the right use, and then you can also utilize, it's a huge mining opportunity, as we had discussed earlier. So I think these steps are very important, and Oppo is going to encourage the other corporates as well. And as over a period you have discussions and meetings and more is talked about this, I am sure that there are more and more corporates and tech companies which will also, look at such initiatives. That's how we can move further in this regard. So now, my next question is for Mr. Vivek Gupta. So, sir, I would like to ask you that the practical steps that educational institutions can take to make e-waste management a part of their day-to-day operations. Thank you,
Great.
sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you. So I think when we talk about the practical steps or the measures that any education institution can take, it is very important. The first thing is the intention. The
Thank
intention has to be there. Without having the intention or the will, we cannot create the change, and we cannot be called as change makers. So that is the first thing. Number two, when we talk about the intention and taking the baton forward, I feel it is the students who have to take the ownership. So when we talk about any program at a school level, it is very important that we have taken the students on board and they have been given the complete ownership. So at my school, we've got our student leadership, and amongst that group, we also have SDG ambassadors who are the climate action warriors, and they are the ones who plan the entire program. They are the ones who will take the lead and go ahead and talk about different agendas that are lined up for the year. So they will be the ones who will take the baton forward and talk to their peers, their schoolmates, so that when it comes from one to one at an individual level, that makes a greater impact. So that's very important. So that's first thing. Number two, Sir has also mentioned about the green skills and the entrepreneurial mindset. At our school also, we have introduced various skill subjects at the secondary and the senior secondary level. And because CBSE introduced those subjects, and I personally felt that those subjects were very important for our students to get hold on at this particular moment, like retail, marketing, mass media, ECC, whatever, IT, AI. There are a number of subjects. All these subjects have a very important component, which is called the vocational aspect of it, and it covers green skill part. So each of these this course will have one chapter, one unit dedicated to green skills for class 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I have worked with the curriculum designing for green skills with CBSE very closely. We had jotted down the points. We ensured that it is, one step ahead each time whenever it's age appropriate, which is very important. So it has been very carefully designed, and I feel that the skill subjects that CBSE had launched, they are keeping in terms with the current scenario. We had to prepare the children for 2030 and beyond, not just like within the next 2 years they're getting jobs. So the job roles are going to change over the years, and for that particular thing, if today we start talking to the children about the green skills and sensitizing them, giving them the ownership and leadership, I think things will work out, and that will be the first step. Going on ahead, the other activities at the primary level, we have a lot of quizzes that keep happening, not only related to the e-waste management, but otherwise also for various topics. So e-waste could be one part of it. Slogan writing, poster writing competition, like Manav sir mentioned, pledge. So our school is also ensuring that our students have taken a e-waste management pledge, and they will not just condone any electronic gadget without making the full utility of it. And as Rakesh sir has mentioned, we also train the children that you can go back and buy back. You can go and get your equipments replaced, which is very important. So this policy is, we need to talk to the children. We need to let them know that this option is also available. You just don't have to throw it in dustbin. So that's very important part of it. The responsible use of any gadget is something which I feel is very, very essential. So whenever our students, there are talks that keep happening at school level, group discussions happen, and of course there are various inter-house competition, inter-school competitions where the children participate, where they get to meet two different people. And when you invite a speaker from outside, they will come back and speak to the children and reinforce what we are trying to teach them. I think that makes the value of what we are trying to emphasize on, and that's how things progress at a school level.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Gupta. In fact, you've shared so many good insights with us. The very fact that at the primary level you have quizzes and competitions, and you've been closely working with CBSE so that the green skills, they can be implemented depending upon the age group. For different age groups, there would be different plans, so to speak, and different things which will inculcate in them these things, that how they need to take care of the electronic waste. So these competitions and the very fact that you have people from outside coming in and further reinforcing it, and group discussions and events that are happening around this, I think these are the kind of steps which the schools should take, and there should be more of inter-school competitions. And there should be people who can debate on this, maybe, or declaim. A lot of things can be organized around this topic, so that this e-waste awareness and other issues related to the environment can be emphasized. So now I go to the next question, and this one is for Manav. How can global partnerships between NGOs, businesses, and governments accelerate the action on managing e-waste? In fact, how should it go beyond just raising the awareness? How can we further accelerate it? How can we go beyond raising awareness?
Yeah, I think, Pritika, that's a very relevant question because, after awareness, what? Many
Yes,
people are talking about climate action, but who's taking action, right? I think the
right, right,
action, awareness to action, as the talk is also titled, is
right.
important. We need to be aware. Of course, that's the bottom line, but then action needs to be taken. I think a lot of things can be done. Uh, from a personal perspective, like I used to work in the corporate sector for 17 years, and now I'm working in various aspects as an entrepreneur, as a consultant, as a professor. So there are a lot of things happening, but I think what we need to do is mobilize more organizations to come forward and allocate a part of their CSR spend for climate, for
Correct.
e-waste. I think it is a national agenda. India is moving towards a global manufacturing base. Our Prime Minister is talking about it, that we will be, a manufacturing hub to the world. And imagine what we need to do for that. Of course, as the country progresses, we need to manage our e-waste. So I think e-waste is important for everybody, for the growth of the electronic sector, and of course, there are so many jobs that are coming up. But I think important thing, that first thing that I would like to say is that more CSR spend should be available so that more organizations can do this, more Oppos, more Salesforce. I know Salesforce is also doing something similar. I think we need more organization, more multinational corporations to come together and contribute the CSR spend, because anyway they're doing that. I mean, I'm not saying 100%, but a part of the CSR spend should definitely go towards climate. From a government perspective, I think government has taken the right steps from a NIRF ranking perspective, but I think we need to do more. This is a country, as we're talking about, is entrepreneurial. We have a huge entrepreneurial talent. Um, there could be an entrepreneurship programs and startup challenges that could be done on e-waste alone. I think there is enough potential. We are talking about Startup India, Stand Up India. There's so many of these startup programs. I think we need to integrate that with the entrepreneurship cells in colleges. I mean, a lot of engineering colleges now have entrepreneurship. A lot of schools are introducing entrepreneurship, and I think we need to introduce e-waste along with AI, along with digital technology. Like those are typical. Like, okay, here are
Yeah,
areas: healthcare, AI. E-waste
yeah,
should become like a big component on that, and I think the
yes.
Ministry of Electronics and IT can play a big role there.
Okay.
And having an entrepreneurship program there would be, I think, a game changer, because we need to
Yeah,
look at e-waste as an economic development, economic growth activities. There's so many. It is like a freelancer's opportunity. It's a gig economy opportunity. It's a solopreneur's opportunity. I think there's so many ways you can look at it.
yeah,
And we as a country, we are talking about young people not having jobs. Of course, here are jobs, but people need to capitalize on it. So I think from an education perspective, and that's the third pillar. If I look at a public-private
Right.
partnership that we need to take, and of
Yes.
course from civil society organizations like 1M1B, which is a non-profit, how do we do it? So I think it's important that we have support from the grassroots, from the teachers, from the professors, and from a credit perspective that can happen. So a lot can be done. I think we're just scratching the surface. But as we go forward, I think schools and colleges need to really step up because they are shaping young minds. In fact, I was reading a interesting book on climate change, and there was some data that U.S. schools, the collective, and there's no India data available, but the U.S. schools, their power consumption is about $8 billion. $8 billion are just consumed or spent by schools for energy consumption. And
Mm-hmm.
that has increased over the last couple of years. 25% increase has happened just the last couple of years because now there's integration of technology happening, there's digital devices that is happening. So as we as a country progress, we need to also make sure we are cleaning our backyard. We want progress, but let's also take care of the environmental challenges that we are facing. Switching to renewables is important. The schools, I think, who are listening to this talk right now, I think it's time that we switch to renewables. Solar is big. Wind turbines, you could be considering that, but I think green hydrogen, people are talking about it. But I think solar panels are important from that perspective. So I think a lot can be done. We need intent, we need action, and of course we need funding. And when these things come together, I think we can see some big breakthroughs coming in India. And of course, e-waste and climate action and green skills is a huge job opportunity. Just 34 million new jobs will be created by 2047, which is 100 years of India's freedom. 34 million jobs. So there's money to be made. There's environmental stewardship, and as I was saying in the beginning of the talk, I think all this needs to come together towards a greater good.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Manav. So you said there is intent, there is action, and we require funding also. So you started by talking about the CSR spends. Just like Oppo India is doing, we need more, private companies to come forward, and a certain portion of their CSR spend should be dedicated because funds are required, and the very fact that the governments have their own role in supporting this initiative that all of us are taking. So this amalgamation is required from every side, and students should be given more opportunities, just like we have AI and there's health and there's so much. Similarly, e-waste is another opportunity, and it's an opportunity which can be taken care which will take care of the multiple job requirements as well. So I think everybody has to come in and look at the agenda of e-waste and work towards it. So now, my next question is for Mr. Vivid Gupta. I just wanted to know from you that can you share any examples of how your students have turned e-waste awareness into action through your school-based initiatives or partnerships with external organizations?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, back in 2019, I asked my students because, it was the time of September, same time around the year, when we received a circular from CBSE and the department stating that we need to work on Swachhta Pakhwada and we need to ensure that things get cleaned up and students get into the habit of keeping their surroundings clean. And
Right.
at my school, I initiated this project and we called it Maybe Gandhi Project. So this
Maybe
Maybe
that.
Gandhi project, Maybe Gandhi project, it actually emphasizes on finding out and segregating the waste at source. So we initially started with segregating the wet and the dry waste separately, and later we are now also segregating the paper waste because a school is essentially a place where a lot of paper waste is generated. So we are also getting our paper waste recycled. And then the fourth in that row is the e-waste. So we also, after COVID, we added e-waste management into it. And now our students are, bringing their all e-waste, the batteries, the wires, cables, whatever they are not usable and they cannot repurpose it, they are bringing it back to us so that we can get that recycled. So that is the first initiative. The second
Yeah.
thing, very recently, because Manavji also mentioned about the Atal Tinkering Schools. We are one such Atal Tinkering School, and in our labs, in the Atal Tinkering Lab, there are small gadgets, because of dust also they get, you cannot use them again. So we have taught the
Right.
children how to clean them in the lab period, during one of the sessions we have taught them, and they were essentially asked to keep the electronic waste also clean, and how can they maintain that particular thing so that the waste is not generated. That's the whole idea. So that thing also picked up at our school, and today we are looking at the students who are very careful about things. They will come back to me and tell me, sir, how can we actually ensure that this e-waste is not generated and we can reuse it, repurpose it in some other direction. So we get them linked to certain organizations who are actually trying to work out in this area. So problems, finding a problem is something which is very essential, and then looking at its solution is another thing that is very critical to the students. So like Manavji said, that it all starts from the school, because they are the young ones, and if they get the habit of asking the questions now, and if they start thinking critically that if I am using something, it belongs to me and I have to take care of it. So that sense of belongingness is something which is very critical and important at the school level, and because of which our school also bagged a lot of accolades in the green school arena. We are the IGBC Green School. We won that last year. Green Campus Award we have received. We are a lead eco club school, and a lot of climate action work is happening at the school at the ground level. So be it action taken by the government of India to plant lakhs and crores of trees in the surroundings. So be that we are a part of it. So the students are always active and they take the lead, which is the most important part. Why I'm repeating this particular thing is because we will do something at a school level, and if the children leave it after the school, it has no meaning. So we have to give the ownership. The baton needs to be with them so that they can carry it further and bring an impact into the society, which is again very, very important point.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's really heartening to hear the kind of efforts that you have been taking in your school for children to be more aware, and then you're giving them the responsibility. Also, the ATL initiative that you talk about, when they're told that they have to have the sense of belongingness and they are cleaning their gadgets, and how they come to you and you connect them to agencies which can help them recycle stuff. So that's really good, because at the school level, the implementation has to start. And as rightly said, it is not just, till the time they're in school, they have to carry it much further. So the baton needs to be given to them. And that will only happen when, the sense of belongingness is reinforced. And the other initiative, like which the government has taken, all are related to, like planting trees, etc. Because all this is in some or the other way contributing to the environment. And the most important fact that you talked about was also that after COVID, e-waste is also segregated in your school, apart from the other three, including paper waste, which was done. And that's the point where children actually see that their school is a hub for collection, and they realize the importance, and then they discuss it with their other children, their community, their family and friends, and at the grassroots level, the change. That's how it happens. So my next question. Now would be basically, I would like to understand that what we as different stakeholders, whether educational institutions or private businesses or tech companies, what we can initiatives can we take to turn this e-waste awareness into creating some measurable impact. And in this regard, I would like to ask you, Manav, that from the tech company perspective, what key actions do you think should be prioritized in this regard, so that this can be made more measurable? We can measure the impact of our initiatives. Yes, Manav.
Um, so I think from a company perspective, of course, I talked about the CSR spending, so the funding being available. But I
Correct.
think what the organization itself is doing to keep its backyard clean. What are you doing on e-waste? What are you doing on energy? What are you doing on circular economy? So I think it is very important that we first become individually accountable
Yeah.
as individuals ourselves, as humans, and of course as institutions, tech companies, small companies, schools, colleges, whatever. I think we need to have that. And I think from a tech company perspective, there is at least I see a huge growth happening on jobs, even leveraging AI. And AI, I believe, it's a double-edged sword, as we all know.
Mhm.
AI, of course, we need to watch out for AI and make sure that we are preparing our young people on how to use it for good. Like internet, like when internet came in, there were two narratives to internet: the good narrative and the bad narrative. And
Correct.
today I see the same for happening for AI. But I think AI, on the positive side, could be used quite a bit to accelerate India's net zero agenda. And I
Right.
think effective use of AI on shop floors, effective use of AI from an ESG accounting and audit perspective,
Sure.
use of data. I think that's what we need to do. I mean, unless you have data, you don't know how much and what is happening. I think first we all need to measure our own carbon footprint and then
Right.
share those practices and especially use of AI. So there are a bunch of things that tech companies, I think, can do. One is, of course, use all these fascinating technologies that we are inventing to first see how we can accelerate our net zero agenda towards
Right.
decarbonization. And the second is create all these tools for the industry to use so that we can have more people who are using business analytic skills. I think that is where I see a lot of growth from a tech company's perspective. If we launch tools, if we come up with tools, if we are giving tool-based internships, education, we are creating a workforce that can go and even work for big companies. Today every company is a tech company. It's just not
Correct.
the tech. Like I was talking to one of the sustainability directors, rather vice president
Right.
of one of the leading fashion brands, and they are doing digital transformation. They are on e-commerce. So
Right.
fashion is also a tech company today. And I
Yes.
think what we need to do is, give these tools and, of course, train a manpower that can work
Right.
on these agendas. Um,
Correct.
so I think it's a manpower development. Climate talent is the word that at least my organization is going after. We are developing climate talent so that a lot of companies can use AI, leverage AI to create a green workforce for the future.
Correct. Thank you, Manav. And now I want to ask Mr. Rakesh Bhardwaj, how can private organizations contribute to these collaborative efforts? If you could just tell me very briefly that, how it can be done in a line or two, that, that gist. Yes.
Pratika, yes, private organization can significantly contribute to collaborative sustainability effort. As we already discussed, that CSR can play a very
Yeah.
important role. And for example, Oppo's Generation Green program
Thank
exemplify
you.
how private entities can support government initiative for
Thank
environmental
you.
sustainability. So it's very
Right.
critical to raise awareness among consumer about responsible e-waste management, and at the
Yeah.
same time private player need to be more focused towards sustainability. I'll just like to add that government has already launched mission life, that uh, lifestyle for environment, which says that small change we need to have in our daily
Right.
lifestyle or
Yes.
productions that impact environment positively. And government is
Right.
also working on repairability index, like we see the
Hmm.
5 star and 3 star rating in other products.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
same kind of repairability index is also coming. So private organization, one side they can work on new technology, and other side they can use their CSR fund to impact this initiative and contribute to this collaborative effort.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Bhardwaj. And I just, want to sum up the discussion by thanking everybody giving their valuable inputs. And I think we can say that e-waste awareness can be transformed into action when everyone comes together, whether it's tech companies, private companies in the form of support, there is government, and at the same time, at the school level, at the grassroots level also, as we've seen, lot of initiatives are taken. When everyone comes together, can we have some concrete action points that we have in place, and depending upon that, having a clear blueprint in front of us and working towards it, so something which should have a measurable impact, that should be done. And we should, from time to time, keep looking at what progress we've done, and we should take examples from other countries, what initiatives they are using, and kind of get together and take this on priority. Because as in the beginning itself we discussed that India is the third largest, as Manav said, in terms of e-waste. There is a lot that can be done about it, and then apart from the environmental sustainability issues, we also have to look at the huge opportunity that this e-waste has. So because when we can utilize that opportunity, of course, that also will help us in a big way in taking care of this challenge. So thank you so much. I think it was a very enlightening session, and it's something which is the need of the hour. So I guess let's all continue our good work in this regard. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, everybody. And
Thank
I
you.
hope,
Thank you.
yes,
Thank you very much. Thanks all.
yes, I hope, we can just go along in this regard. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you. Thank you,
Thank,
Manavji. Thank you, Rakeshji. It was
Thank
lovely
you.
hearing you. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Yes.